age with new degrees and new master's studies. And let's not forget that our current students will be the architects, the engineers of the future. And if we start preparing them in this field, it's only a matter of common sense, so that when they start working, they will be able to incorporate all this from the beginning. And as you were saying, we need to ensure universal design, that is design for all, but then a kind of design which is adapted to each person. And here, Alejandro, I'd like to hear your opinion, because all these new steps that are being taken, well, you have, of course, to ensure a number of hours, of lecturing hours, but also you can work remotely from home. You always have that possibility because of the very nature of the Open University. I think that all this can be very interesting hypothetically. If a person has a problem with accessibility, the formats can be much faster. And I wonder, do you think this kind of technologies are being a help, or do you think there are any menaces or any serious problems that need to be solved? Good morning. First of all, David, let me explain that the UNED, even if it's called the National University of Distance Education, also includes direct attendance by the students, because the UNED has 64 associated centers in Spain. We know that the profile of the UNED student is a bit different from other universities. The students who can go to the associated centers for tutorials, that is, they have direct relationship with the professors, the tutors at the university. I would also say that most of the learning activities within the UNED is done through the internet. And as I was saying, the UNED is using more and more systems of virtual blackboards, remote tutorings, recording of the tutoring, so that all these sessions are recorded so that the students can easily access them. And this, of course, is a bit of a problem, because the fact that you can have access to a virtual screen where you have a teacher speaking, and on the other side you have slides and PowerPoint, and then Q&A time with all the students following the session, is a bit complicated from the accessibility point of view. For example, we are very lucky there, because the professionals who are typing are allowing us to see what is being said below the screen, on the lower part of the screen, just like our sign language interpreters do. But this is not available in all systems of a virtual blackboard, because, of course, this implies an expense. The UNED has more than 500 such events a year. Just imagine the amount of money that this entails. On the other hand, people with visual problems would have problems to see what is written on the virtual blackboard. I do not think that any screen reader is able to read the content of the slides through virtual blackboard as of today. I'm sure that perhaps in a few days, in a few years, this will be possible. So as I was saying, David, the new technologies do provide new possibilities. You can buy a ticket, a train ticket for Cadiz on the internet, but if I have a problem with accessibility, I will probably have many more difficulties to do that. The university is also becoming more and more open thanks to the new technologies, but at the same time we need to solve all these different challenges. At the hotel, I was discussing the advantages of these technologies, but speaking with Jaime, we were saying that there are many positive things, even when we manage to overcome the accessibility issues, when everything is tailor-made and everything keeps on improving as it is. When university is an open university or distance university, just like telework, it does not necessarily have to be the best solution. You have problems with isolation, and we're discussing a case which caught our attention. This is a master's of degree in technology and disability, and this master's degree exists. And well, the best thing would be, well, if it didn't have to exist, so that all master's degrees in all different so that the problem of disabilities was totally taken on board. But this is the only master's degree which exists of this nature, and there's lots of demand of people who want to take a master's at the Open University, but they cannot do that because they cannot really travel or move, or because they live abroad. And so we opened an experience on the internet for people who could register from abroad. And we had 2 students from New York, 1 student from Mexico, and then we had somebody from Grenoble and somebody from Marseille. And we had internet sessions, and the platform had been open to them so that they could do projects on the platform. And they did wonderful projects on the integration of students with a disability at Grenoble University, which was, there was a pilot made in Mexico, it was tested in Grenoble, and then the protocols and the follow-up was done in New York. That was perfect. They all learned quite a lot. And during that academic year, we had 2 cases, 2 very particular cases, since we had a student with a disability. He was in a wheelchair, and the lift to go up would always be down, and so that he would come, but he couldn't get up the steps. He couldn't go to class, so that it was a problem. And I told him, listen, while the problem is solved, we are going to sort of open up distance classes for you so that you can follow. So he went to Rouen to live with his parents, and he would follow the lessons like that, and he thinking that it was a good technical solution. The other case was that of a student who got pregnant. It was a risky pregnancy, and she had been asked not to move too much from home, so we opened the door so that she could have access to our studies on the internet. So as a result, the result was that for the pregnant student it was a really good solution, because she managed to follow the courses. But in the case of our student with a disability, with a wheelchair, we thought it would be a good solution. We even took it as an experiment to see whether it would be a good solution in the long term for such cases. But in this case, the result was a real disaster, because the person felt really isolated, eventually got depressed because he didn't have any contact with his fellow students, and he dropped